Hey everyone, welcome to the Touch My Health podcast with Matt and Katie, where we dig into mental health, physical health, and holistic wellness. We share personal stories and struggles that we have overcome. These are our own opinions and experiences. Enjoy.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Touch My Health podcast. My name is Matt,
I'm Katie.
and today we're going to be talking about a thief.
Nasty, nasty thief that no one likes to talk about. Do you know what thief that is?
I do not.
The thief of overthinking.
Overthinking. Yeesh.
Yeah, which, a lot of people joke around. They're like, I'm such an overthinker. I overthink everything. But overthinking is actually not a healthy mindset to be in. It's not a healthy habit to have, to have.
Words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard. I'm still um, regrouping from my week. I was
Oh,
in,
yeah. Tell them
I
where
was,
you went.
I was in San Benito, Texas for a couple days. A lot of fun. Had a great time. It was a tax seminar, but I
Taxes.
know it sounds boring, but it was actually really a lot of fun.
Did you learn a lot?
I did. Who said accountants are boring? We're a lot of fun.
Tax planning, tax advising,
Yep.
all of those things. Numbers,
Very
being
easy to
accountant.
overthink in those situations,
Oh
let
my
me tell
gosh.
you.
Yeah.
Thinking is a big thief. It's a thief in the sense that it steals your time, your energy, your focus. It aids, not aids. I use that word. It's a symptom of anxiety, depression, some other mental health disorders, but it's not an actual mental health disorder itself. But what would you define overthinking as? What do you think it means?
Overthinking to me is dwelling on one certain subject or putting so much thought into, say, a conversation where you start getting your heart rate up, you start really getting either angry, sad, whatever that emotion is,
Hmm.
and you go over a gamut of what ifs. What I should have said this, I should have said that. Like just running through that whole gamut of emotion and really spending a lot of time thinking about what happened or what could happen.
Yeah, it's definitely th there's a couple I think different definitions for it. I liked this one that I found. Overthinking involves thinking about a certain topic or situation excessively and analyzing it for long periods of time.
Hmm.
When you overthink, you have a hard time getting your mind to focus on anything else. It becomes consumed by the one thing that you are thinking about. So, um, I think everyone overthinks sometimes, and there are situations where giving something a lot of thought is appropriate,
Definitely.
but when it becomes that all consuming and that's
Hmm.
all you think about, and you just replay situations or conversations or scenarios, things that may have happened, things that may not even have happened. We talked about that where I'll go down the rabbit hole of overthinking and then have a whole scenario or situation, something that's happened. I'll be in tears and like this thing will probably never happen.
Right.
I've just overthought and worked myself up and I'm like, well, shit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I do that in the shower so much that it's kind of my time to decompress. And, most of the time we don't shower together. So I'm just in there with my thoughts. And I think about conversations and I go into rage. Like
I
I'm
cry,
yeah,
you go into
it's
rage.
it's so much that I have a whole blown conversation of things that haven't even happened yet.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize that's overthinking. That is overtaken my
Right.
emotion for that whatever 10 minutes in the shower. And once I
Hmm.
get out of the shower, it's so weird. I just completely stop. Uh, It's not even a thing anymore.
Yeah, see you and that's something we'll get to later on, but yeah, you can get out like it's very short-lived for you.
It is.
So that's probably why you didn't think that you had an over that you overthought or were an overthinker at times.
Right.
Because for someone like me who struggles with overthinking things a lot, just I mean, being very honest, it's not there are certain things I have to do to get myself out of that loop, out of that overthinking loop. It's not just like, okay, I got out of the shower, I'm done now.
Do you think
Uh,
this is more uh gender based? Do you think it's found more in males, females?
I honestly I wouldn't want to say yes or no one way or the other
Okay.
because I've never even really thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it would be easy to say or easy to assume that it's more female based, but I don't think that that would be the right
Assumption.
assumption.
Yeah. Okay.
I just think that's the easy assumption to make because we are, women are more emotional creatures
Right.
than men are,
Physical beings.
right?
Yeah.
So
We show
and
emotion too, but I definitely feel like the more of it is shown by women, and a lot of decisions are based on emotion,
mhm,
where maybe with men a lot it's more financial first and emotion second.
probably, yeah. Um, but I also have some signs. If you are like you and you're like when we were talking about this originally, you said, I don't know, I don't think I'm an overthinker. I don't think I
I don't.
overthink
Yeah.
things. And then I wrote down obviously some things that resonated with me, how I know I'm an overthinker. And I was doing some other research. And I said, I think you'd be surprised because I think you're more of an overthinker than you think, but
Okay. I'm
not to
interested to
like a
see.
bad
Yeah.
degree. But
I'm interested
um,
to see.
so some signs that you are an overthinker.
Sign number one.
Sign number one is an inability to think about anything else. So
Hmm.
whether it's a particular situation or concern you have, it consumes pretty much your thoughts. You can't get out of that loop. You just like hyper focus on it and zone in and
Oh,
that's all that you think about.
right.
So being able, or I'm sorry, sign number two,
Sign number
being
two.
being unable to relax. This is also why overthinking can be a symptom of somebody with high anxiety, and also PTSD too. Is you're unable to relax because your mind is just racing and you're thinking about not necessarily just one thing but a bunch of things.
So PTSD and hyper anxiety are a symptom of
Well,
overthinking.
those are mental health conditions.
Okay,
Overthinking is not a mental health condition. It is a symptom of one of those things
gotcha.
normally.
Hmm.
And it can increase if you have a mental health condition like those. And there's some other ones in here I'll read too. But overthinking can intensify those and make them worse.
Makes sense.
The third sign you're an overthinker is you're constantly feeling worried or anxious. So that for me,
The worry for you is
worry and
is a big, yeah.
anxiousness.
Hmm.
Who did I? I can't remember who it was, but I sent you something on Instagram, and it was someone saying, "Stop saying I have anxiety or I have this," and because you're saying that's who I am. So instead saying, don't say that, say such and such action or this that makes me feel anxious because,
Um,
and you say why you're feeling anxious or what is it that's causing you the feeling of anxiety, not just I have anxiety.
Oh, it's such a big one. That
What
is
was
such a good
that?
one. I think that was another podcast.
Was it Mel Robbins?
I don't remember,
I don't. Oh,
but it might have been Mel Robbins,
I
but
gotta look it
it
up.
was when you say I have anxiety, that's now defining who you are and defining what you are. Instead, replace that with this makes me feel anxious when.
It
And
was Mel Robbins. Yeah,
I thought so.
she's so
And
good.
she is great. Follow us on on Instagram, touch.my.health.
Yes,
So when you replace that identity of I have anxiety with going to Chuck E. Cheese gives me anxiety, right? Because of all of the children, because of the screaming.
really.
It,
For me, it's a big old
oh,
scary mouse up there
oh my
saying
gosh.
crazy
So
shit. It gives
instead
me
of saying
nightmares.
I have anxiety, I have to replace it with when I go to Chuck E. Cheese, it gives me an anxious feeling.
Yeah, because there are a lot of children around
Oh,
and they are very loud, and sometimes it makes me feel uncomfortable with
yeah, definitely.
just
And I
too
have a
much
real
going
hard time
on.
with loud noises unless it's music.
Yeah, all the commotion. But yeah,
Yep.
so constantly feeling worried or anxious. Got off on a little side tangent there. Sorry. Number four, fixating on things outside of your control. Again, I feel this one to my soul.
Say it again.
Fixating on things that are outside of your control.
Okay. Yeah.
I
This is the one I do for sure.
Right. And I don't know if it's necessarily the so much creating the scenarios or the conversations or the
Mhm.
things in your head, but I'm trying to think of something that's outside of your control that you would overthink about.
Oh,
Um,
easy. That's I mean getting on a plane, right? Where you are a passenger on a plane and you have zero control over anything.
that is great because
And
I
people
I
I mean
need that.
hyperventilate about what if the plane crashes? What if
I used to be like, can someone give me some sort of relaxant? Or I'd be like, flight attendant, I need a drink
yeah,
or two or three to
yeah,
calm me down.
yeah. Where
Well,
me,
and I
I'll
don't like to
just
sit next to the window.
right. I'll just go to sleep on a plane. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I have literally seen somebody breathing into those bags as we were taking off. And you don't have any control, but you have to,
Well, the only control you have is then just don't fly.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And especially with all of the real focus on airplanes right now. And, I feel like,
Yeah. That's exactly why I drove to San Benito and did not fly. I mean, it was only a 5.5 hour drive, but that is exactly why I didn't fly because of all the,
hey, Boeing, get your shit together.
I don't know, is it, I mean,
Yeah, it's Boeing.
whoever,
Yeah.
just get it together.
Right.
Um, okay. So then number five is feeling mentally exhausted. And I, again, feel this one a lot because when you're overthinking, it's to me, I think of it as you went and ran a marathon.
Hmm.
You worked out, you did the 10K, the whatever. Your body, your muscles are tired. They've been working really hard, and your mind is to me the same thing. It's a big muscle. We have to work it.
Definitely.
So when you are overthinking constantly, mental exhaustion will take over because you've done a marathon in your mind.
Body is just
Yeah.
done.
There's
Yeah.
many, many days that my body feels awake and ready to go, but my mind is not there. My mind is exhausted. It's ready for bed and it's 2 p.m.
Oh gosh.
And you've seen some of those days where I've been in bed at like 2 o'clock in the
Yeah.
afternoon. You're like, what are you doing? I'm like, done today.
I
I'm
need a
done
nap.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not, I don't like naps. I'm not a nap person because normally naps will make me feel worse when I get up.
Yeah,
But
we are not
just,
nappers for
just
sure.
laying in bed and relaxing and giving myself time.
Hmm.
I still don't care. Like, that's not, I would not recommend that personally as something to do when you're mentally exhausted.
Is nap?
No, just sitting and laying in bed.
Oh, yeah.
I just, and I'm just saying for me personally, I feel like that doesn't do anything to get you out of the mental rut or the mental exhaustion. You're basically giving in and saying, okay, fine, go, go lay down.
Yeah, and that's been scientifically proven that to keep yourself stimulated, you should not go and lay down. You should sit straight up. You should keep moving, keep your mind occupied. Even though you feel exhausted, it's scientifically proven that to actually get over that is to not
hmm
go and nap,
Or
go and lay down.
yeah, or go like instead of me going and laying in bed, I should just if I need to take a break, a mental break or something, go sit on the couch.
Yep.
Somewhere
Stay
that's not
stay straight up.
your bedroom, your
Right.
that's for sleep, that's for bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
Because that can also cause issues with your sleep, but that's a whole different
Yeah.
conversation. Or shifting your focus from, you know, whatever you were doing, maybe start doing something else.
Oh,
That
okay.
doesn't require, for me, it would be maybe doing some laundry or cleaning to where it doesn't require any mental
Right.
muscle,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm just going to clean and
Yeah.
fold clothes.
And cleaning is
Mind
almost
numb.
cathartic for, I mean, me and a lot of other people too. I find it very self-soothing. Cleaning doesn't
I
bother
used
me.
to, when I
And
would get really angry, I would just start cleaning, like
yeah.
rage cleaning or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay. So sign number five. What's sign number six? Is there a sixth one?
Yes, there's 8.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's any more, but
Okay. Sign number six.
having a lot of negative thoughts.
Hmm. That is mentally draining, bad for
Yes.
your mental health.
I know again something I struggle with too. I find my mind in this negative space and I have these negative thoughts running through my mind and after a couple minutes I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are we
Snap out of it.
why are we here?
Hmm.
Um and for me it's more negative thoughts towards myself, not
Oh,
necessarily somebody else or something else or such. It's 9 times out of 10, it's a negative thought about me. And then I have to, you know, do or different tools or
babe,
ways
you're
to,
beautiful and you are an amazing person.
oh, thank
I don't
you.
like you thinking negative thoughts
I
about
know.
yourself.
You don't like it when I say it either. You're like, hey, stop talking
No,
about my girlfriend like that,
yeah,
okay?
I don't
I
like
don't
it.
like it. But yeah, so a lot of negative thoughts. Next one is replaying a situation or experience in your head.
Replaying a situation in your head that,
Replaying a situation or experience in your head, in your mind.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the what if
Guilty.
come in. Yeah,
Guilty.
guilty for sure. What ifs. So I do a lot
I'm
of,
horrible with what ifs.
yeah, I do a lot of replaying of conversations that I had, not so much as regret, or it's just something that I do is I kind of replay conversations and think of better ways that I could have delivered what I was saying, especially with our children. I do this with our children a lot where I'm like, okay, I was trying to tell you, you know, be a better person or make better decisions, but it didn't land as good as I hoped or as good as I pre-planned it.
Yeah, I feel like nothing ever lands for me as good as when I
Right.
say it up here, and then when
Yeah.
it comes out, I'm like blah
So when
blah
I
blah.
replay that in my head, I sit there and just kind of break down the conversation a lot and go over what was said. My tone is big for this one. Tone is big when you are trying to have that replay of conversation and really get your point across. So tone for sign number seven, I would say is a good side note.
Yeah, I replay situations, experiences, conversations in my head a lot, but
Hmm.
I feel that mine come from a more of a like I say PTSD, but I use it in the sense that I don't have PTSD, so I don't want to make light of it, but it's where I will sit there and be like, I hope I said, did it, I hope this didn't offend someone, or I hope I didn't say
Hmm.
the wrong thing, or should I have said this, or oh my gosh, I should have just shut up and never said anything, or I wonder if I acted stupid, or if I acted this way or that, and it's comes more from being told by somebody after the fact, like, why did you act like that? Why did you do that?
Oh
Why did
man.
you say that?
Hmm.
And it put the thoughts in my head to where now I still have those conversations and replay them in my mind because at one point in time, a lot of things I said and did were scrutinized when they maybe sometimes they should have been, but most of the time I don't think they should have been. And so
Right.
it made me
That's re
now I'm like I have that
right. And
PTSD from those
that is
situations to
relation.
where
Yeah, it's relationship PTSD. You definitely feel some of that, and so do I. And I feel like if you've ever been through any type of mental or physical abuse, you have relationship PTSD. PTSD isn't just for people that have been to war or seen bad things like that. It can also be things in your
yeah.
past that,
Yeah, I just haven't done enough like research into that, and I don't want to no one come for me. Okay.
yeah, we
See,
can.
I'm overthinking already.
Okay. So moving on, number eight,
Moving on. Okay. Um, actually, there was one, two, nine. So we got
nine.
two more. So second guessing your decisions is number eight.
Second guessing your decisions. That plays right into number seven, where you're replaying thoughts in your head.
Hmm.
So,
Yes, or you make a decision and then you immediately start second guessing it
mhm,
and then start, I think, the what ifs and things like that.
100%.
And then the last one is thinking of all the worst case scenarios.
The worst case scenario, those are most of the time out of your control. I
Yes,
would,
I think so. The plane one came to my mind when I read that
yeah,
is y- get on the so when I'm on a plane, what I will do a lot of times is I will think about like, okay, what happens if the emergency door flies open? We got Final Destination up
uh,
here. What happens when these things come out? I mean, I've flown many, many, many times, and every time the flight attendant gets up there and does her little spiel,
the
with
safety
the
spiel,
I'm still glued. I'm like, okay, yeah, yeah, where's that booklet at? Okay,
yeah.
like I need to, where's the thing under
You're
the
such a
seats?
rule follower.
I know. Well, that's more. I'm just, and then in my head, I'm going through all of the worst case just in case. Okay,
Mm,
and if my kids are on the flight with me, then
yeah.
oh gosh,
And
okay. I got to do mine first, even though it's going to be instinct. I want to put theirs on first.
yeah,
I got to do mine,
right.
and then well, which child do I? Who do I help next? Well, I mean, both my kids are older, but still, like, what if one's struggling? Do I help them? Yeah.
Goodness.
Meanwhile,
That
we
is,
land and we're fine.
yeah, that's mentally
Oh,
exhausting.
another one too is I've caught myself doing this lately ever since I had this dream.
Hmm.
Very was a very weird, morbid dream, but it's made me I don't know if it's caused me to overthink, but it's definitely caused me to play worst case scenario in my mind where I've been thinking about what would happen if my car crashed into water. How do you get out of a car? I even like Googled it.
Oh,
How do you get out of a car when you're in water?
I had,
Like, submerged in water. And I think about how I would escape
yeah,
from
it's very difficult, but you have to
my
roll
car.
your window down as before your car sinks, or kick out a window. It's training that I had to do for offshore training. We had to get strapped into this helicopter in a pool, and the pool was like, I don't know, 10 feet deep or something. And then they submerge you and flip you over. And you have to unbuckle. You have to unbuckle, kick a window out, and swim out.
What if you can't kick a window out? What
Um,
if?
yeah,
What if?
yeah. Mm.
Okay, well, we don't need to
Yeah,
go
plug that,
continue that conversation
right?
any further because I'll just start. But yeah, that's a worst case scenario that's been on
And
my mind lately.
being in the safety field, worst case scenario, we play that out a lot uh and at my job, but really worst case scenario is always death or multiple deaths. And the way that or
That's pretty
the
bad.
yeah, the way that or the times that that may happen is one in probably a million, right? It's very few. And so, worst case scenario, if you sit there and play worst case scenario game all day with everything you're doing, again, you're going to be mentally exhausted, physically exhausted.
Yes, and I think a lot of these signs intertwine with each other,
They do.
and some may cause other. But if any of these you find, oh, I do that a lot. Oh, I do that a lot. Oh, I do that a lot. You're definitely most likely an overthinker.
Okay.
We need to work on it.
How do we work on?
So, well, here are some causes of overthinking too. So those were like signs that if you didn't know, yes, I'm an overthinker.
Okay.
So, but overthinking can happen for several different reasons. So one of the reasons you can have a cause of overthinking is not being solution focused.
Oh,
So instead of being being in a problem solving state of mind, um, you're in a problem dwelling state of
oh,
mind.
yeah.
So, um,
Not thinking of the solution.
right, you're dwelling on the problem instead of trying to look for a solution and
Hmm.
solve the problem.
Yeah.
Um, an example would be like, I wish this, we have storms, we have hurricanes, we're in Texas. I wish the storm wouldn't come. It's going to be awful. I hope the house doesn't get damaged. Why do these things always have to happen to me? I can't handle this.
Hmm.
That's overthinking. Whereas problem solving would be, I'm going to go outside. I'm going to pick up all the everything that might blow away. I'll put sandbags against the garage.
Board
I'll
up the
prevent
windows.
flooding. I'll board up the window.
Hmm. Yeah.
You're looking for solutions,
Actionable steps to
right?
the solution.
And
Makes total sense.
uh, the overthinking on the other hand of that, fuels uncomfortable emotions and just
Oh, yeah.
doesn't allow you to look for solutions.
Right.
Um,
Because you're
so
sitting there dwelling on the what ifs
yeah,
and playing out worst case scenario. Yeah.
yeah. So if you're not problem solving, you're just dwelling on the problem. That's going to cause you to get into a state of mind where you're going to start overthinking. Another cause of overthinking would be experiencing repetitive thoughts. So that rumination,
Hmm.
you're sitting over there rehashing the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
You're ruminating over those thoughts or that situation. Now let's get into tips and ways to stop overthinking, how to
Oh,
overcome that.
yeah. Definitely want to learn how to overcome overthinking
Yes,
because you can identify, once you identify that you are an overthinker or you've listened to this and said, holy crap, I have six
that's
out of the
me.
6 or 7 out of the nine. We're going to give you some tips on how to break that overthinking habit because really that's what it boils down to is it's a
It's a
habit.
habit. It is.
And I wouldn't
It's a
say
habit.
it's a good or bad habit, it's just a habit. It can become bad.
Yes, there are times, like we said previously, where it can be appropriate and helpful, but if it's
Hmm.
a constant, it's a bad habit, and it
Correct.
just fuels that those other mental health disorders like
Hmm.
anxiety and depression and PTSD. OCD also
All
is
right.
another one.
So how do I stop overthinking?
So first thing to do is you can distract yourself,
Oh,
which we also talked about. So distracting yourself is doing an activity where you don't really have to use a lot of your mental focus and strength. A good one too is if you something you like to do like gardening, go in the garden,
oh,
cooking.
yeah.
We love to cook or rage cleaning.
I definitely don't put a lot of thought into cooking. I'm not a cooker with cookbooks and recipes.
Hmm.
So that to me, I agree would be second nature where it's just kind of, you
Yeah,
know,
just a brief distraction
so
to
good.
distract your brain.
So
So
helpful.
that's very helpful. The next one I really like. It's one of my favorite ones. And it is one that takes more practice, but challenging
Mm.
your negative thoughts. You have a negative thought and you stop yourself and challenge it. Like be logical about it, challenge the thought, and then reframe it and articulate it in your mind.
Oh, so instead of saying, what if I fail, replace that with, what if I succeed? What if I succeed doing this?
Exactly.
It changes that narrative, it changes that mindset, and it goes from a negative to a positive. So what if I fail, replaced with, what if I succeed?
Yes, exactly. Stop saying, if this happens. No, when this happens,
Yep.
if it's something like you have a goal, if I make it, if I make the team, if I, you know,
Yep.
if I sell this,
Yep.
if this
Manifestation.
works out.
Hmm.
No, when it works out, when I make the team, when I reach this goal,
That's right. There's a
X, Y,
there's
and
a
Z.
method. It's a 369 method, and
Oh,
369 damn good time. 369 method is you write down 3 times in the morning what you want to be or what you want to do, what you want to succeed at, right? And then you write it down 3 times and read it to yourself 3 times in the morning. Then in the afternoon, you write it down 6 times and read it 6 times. And then before bed, you write it down 9 times and you read it to yourself 9 times. Let that be the very last thing that you read before you go to bed. And when you're dreaming, that's in your 4D. We're in 3D right now while our eyes are open. When you get into that fourth dimension, if you write down, I will be a millionaire, and you write that down 9 times and then read that to yourself and say it out loud and that let that be the last thing that you say before you close your eyes. 4D, when you dream, will help that manifestation and help you grow.
I'm writing that down tonight. That
Yeah,
exact same thing.
do it. Let me know in the comments if you're excited about that 369 method.
Gee, I'm,
369.
I'm sorry. That's the first thing that comes to my mind when you
Right?
said that. I was like, that's what? How does that relate? But yeah, challenging negative thoughts is my
Hmm.
favorite because it does take some discipline. And it's reminding yourself that your thoughts are not facts. Every thought you will have will not be truthful, accurate, or even realistic. It's learning how to reframe them in a more positive way to help you relieve the tendency to overthink.
I love that.
Yeah. I love the that one that you said, the what if I fail and replacing it with what if I succeed.
Super big because it challenges your mindset and it trips your brain into positive thinking
Hmm.
and positive things happen to positive people. And my mom always told me that. She
Your
says
mom is so positive.
she is.
She is
And
such a positive lady. I
and
admire it.
it really makes you want to be positive because you say positive things happen to positive people. And if you are positive and you have a better outlook, then better things will happen. And the same goes for negativity. So just put that in your pocket
Back
and
pocket.
yeah, and see if that can help you change a little bit too.
The next one is working on interpersonal skills.
Interpersonal skills
Excuse me.
like talking to people.
No, your interpersonal skills. So, like improving your self-awareness, boosting your self-confidence, self-compassion, learning to be more assertive, and setting boundaries.
Oh, okay.
So, something I've been working on has been self-compassion. That's a big one for me. I have two books that I got. I'm still working the first one, and self-compassion is not the same as self-confidence or self-esteem.
It's
I
loving yourself, right?
right
Mm-hmm.
because when I was going to therapy, I thought I had a self-esteem issue, a self-confidence issue,
Okay.
and my therapist was like, "Katie, you do not have a self-esteem issue. You have a self-compassion issue. You are your hardest critic. You are the one that talks down to yourself. You are the one that belittles yourself. You are the one that says all these, it is not an esteem issue, it's a compassion issue. You need to learn to be more compassionate and love
Mm-hmm.
yourself more." And I was like,
Yeah.
damn,
And you will
damn.
be the reason of your own downfall if you can't get over your own
Yep.
negative thoughts, and you will keep yourself stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You nobody cares. Nobody thinks about about you as much as you think about yourself. And typically 9 times out of 10, I think you are way more tough on yourself than necessary.
Oh, like me?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
you.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
100%.
that is interpersonal skills. So
Okay.
interpersonal skills are things like that. And setting boundaries and learning to be assertive, I think are two that are overlooked or underlooked. They're not considered enough.
Hmm.
We don't put enough emphasis on those. I think we are starting to, and when I say we, I mean as like a collective group of human beings and people. But I know those are two for me, along with the self-compassion that they weren't things I thought about a lot and I didn't understand and realize how important they are. But they are very important and they are very
100%.
important to helping stop that overthinking mind.
Hmm.
Because when you don't have set boundaries and you're not assertive, it's much easier for people to take advantage of you, walk all over you, and to just make you have those overthinking thoughts.
Right.
My my sister, my younger sister, she has a shirt that says overthinking about overthinking. And it's funny, but it's such a
Yeah.
sometimes I think people make light of it and we do joke around about it, but it is a problem.
It goes back to the second guessing your thoughts, being assertive, telling somebody no, telling somebody yes, and going back and second guessing yourself is, only going to stop yourself and stop your momentum. It will help you when you are being assertive. You take ownership of yes, or you take ownership of the no that you gave that person and move on, move forward.
I yes, I want to be more like you. I want to be more assertive like you. Um So the next one is meditation. Meditating is an excellent tool for redirecting your thoughts more positively. However, I find that for me, I meditation is kind of something I struggle with. I do know it is a really good tool and a good
Hmm.
way to overcome
Hmm.
overthinking. For me, sometimes when I try to, and meditate is not just like sitting there with your legs crossed and
Um,
it can be done just sitting in a quiet place or anywhere and, close your eyes or
just shutting your brain down
shutting your
for a
brain
minute.
off. But
Hmm.
sometimes when I try to do that, the thoughts try to work their way in. So sometimes I struggle with fighting. I'm in this battle. I'm like, 1 minute I'm meditating, saying something positive, and then the negative comes in, and then I got to fight that one, get that one out, and then I'm good. And then another one comes in, and I
Right.
fight that and get out.
Yeah,
And
that's,
I'm sure that I'm not the only person that's probably common, but
I
I
was
know
just
it's a
gonna
good
say that's
tool,
pretty common.
but it can, for me, I do struggle sometimes with it because I feel like I have to constantly I'm fighting myself, you
You
know.
really are.
I'm fighting myself. That's all it
You
is. I'm
really
fighting
are.
my own brain.
How many times have you gotten a call from a friend or family member and they're like they're dogging you as much as you dog yourself? Never.
I was gonna say, I was like, no,
Not never.
no.
So allow your brain to shut down, and it's really great for being able to turn your brain off and sleep. Sleep is a big one for overthinking when you're in a healthy state of mind, being able to shut your brain down and refuel. Not when you're just mentally exhausted going and taking a nap like we stated earlier. It's being able to meditate and have that manifestation of positive thoughts and then shutting your brain down and being able to refuel
Yeah, and
through sleep.
it does say too, as you meditate, work is work on focusing on your breath. Something I forget
Mm,
about too is slowing down your breathing.
okay.
Um, and the goal is not necessarily to clear your mind, but like you said, it's to rather focus it on something positive, reframing the negativity with positivity.
Love that.
Um, so, yeah, meditation. The next one is practicing self acceptance. So, I take this as the difference between self acceptance and the interpersonal skills,
Okay.
as this is where you would practice gratitude. Think about aspects of yourself that you like and appreciate.
Yep. Self-love. That's it.
Forgiving yourself for things that you regret.
Mm,
Remembering that no one is perfect, everyone is a work in progress. And cultivating a strong support system made up of people who can provide encouragement and love. So that is the biggest differences between the interpersonal skills and then practicing self acceptance.
love it. Okay.
Beating yourself up for things that you regret is something that I know I struggle with, and it's
Me too.
very different.
Just remember there was only one perfect person that was perfect, and that was Jesus.
That's right.
So we are
And we
not
ain't him.
him.
We ain't him.
All right.
Um, but yes, practicing self acceptance I think is really important, though.
Very.
It is forgiving yourself for things you regret. For me, is and practicing gratitude,
Yes.
being grateful.
Yep. So our biggest takeaways from today.
Our biggest takeaways is how overthinking can just create vicious cycles of stress, anxiety, depression, other mental health disorders that can become worse when you are overthinking.
Hmm.
So, some of the tips that we've talked about to take or to help combat overthinking are challenging the negative thoughts, distracting yourself.
Yep. And also get help. Get therapy if you feel the need. That's the biggest thing. Don't feel ashamed about going and talking to somebody that is specialized in, mental health. And then also look up self-help books.
Hmm.
Self-help books can be very useful to apply to your everyday life because there are people just like us that wrote the book that learned and were able
Became
to.
professionals. They have the coping skills and mental or the tools and coping skills to provide to help you
For sure.
manage and reduce the overthinking.
Yep. And the negative thoughts. So
Yes.
good
Um,
talk, babe.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
was great. I learned
I'm
that.
gonna go overthink this whole thing
Yeah.
when I go. No.
All right. I was just gonna say I learned that
No. Yeah.
I am a little bit of an overthinker, so I have some actionable steps to take myself.
Yes. But it's definitely something that can be, uh, I guess, treated. I don't know if that's
You
the
can
right
overcome
word,
it. Yeah.
but yeah, for sure. And there
Hmm.
are going to be times where it still pops up, but when you either get help through therapy, the tips that we talked about, self-help books, combination of all of those, you will have the tools, you will have the mental tools, you will have the coping skills, you will have the ability to overcome it. It won't consume your life. There is light at the end of the tunnel, I
Most
promise.
definitely. All right. Well, that wraps up for today, and we'll see you on the next one.
We'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. If you learned something and our stories resonate with you, subscribe to our podcast. That's a zero-cost way to support our channel. You can also follow us on Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok. They're linked in the description of the episode. We'd love for you to put any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes in the comment section on YouTube. We'll read them all. Again, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your interest. And as always, we remind you to be the best version of yourself. See you next time on the Touch My Health podcast.